Hello everybody, I'm TychoCelchuuu and this is a Company of Heroes 2 beta shoutcast, and today I have with me a very special guest, Bawx. Say hello, Bawx.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Pretty great on my end. So I'm glad to have Bawx with me. You might remember Bawx from Company Heroes, or I guess Dawn of War 2, and then who knows what else you were doing before then. But he's back with us in Company Heroes 2, so very excited to have him here. Thanks for agreeing to shoutcast this replay with me.
Hey, thanks so much for having me back on, and I'm excited to hopefully become a bigger part of the community again and maybe start shoutcasting a little bit more often. It's certainly nice to be back.
Yeah, we could use more shoutcasters. So I guess before we start the small talk, let's go ahead and unpause the game. We are paused at 5 seconds in this match, and we'll introduce the players once we unpause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we'll start with my player. I'm following Lt.Baumy, who's playing as the Soviets. Who do you have over there, Bawx?
I've got a Symbiosis here on the north side of the map, opening up right now with a infantry company, and he's got a really quick grenadier here. So I'm looking for a pioneer. Don't see one. Looks like he's going with a single pio strat, and he's going to go ahead and start capping on the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, that's interesting. So this is one of the new maps that we have finally in the beta. I guess this is Moscow Outskirts, a 1v1 and a 2v2, and this is really big, so you might expect someone to get 2 pioneers right off the bat to start capping on the left and the right, because it's going to take them like forever to get around this map, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to see. Maybe he's... I've yet to really analyze what Symbiosis typically does on a map like this. If I'm not mistaken, is this the newer version, like a spring-summer version of one of the winter maps? It looks like it, but...
Yeah, so this was a 2v2 map in the beta, sort of also a 1v1, but not an auto match. And I guess they have spring and winter versions of maybe most of the maps, and so yeah, this is the spring version of something that nobody really played for 1v1, except in the Japanese Company Heroes 2 beta tournament. They use this as their 1v1 map, and so some people got to see that getting played. Well, yeah, now it's spring.
Looks like Symbiosis, he does have an MG coming up here. Like I said, so no second pio, 1 Gren, and he's got the MG just hit the field. So and it looks like it's heading towards the right-hand side of the map. So maybe trying to lock down a fuel over on that right-hand side. I do not know the tactical implications of this map as well as I do the winter version of it. In your opinion, is there kind of a pin down area that players typically like to go to in this case, or is it a little bit too wide open of a map for that sort of tactic to work?
Right. See, that's the thing. Like, nobody really knows how these maps play out because we haven't had enough time. There are a lot of buildings on sort of like key points. There's a little shack sort of northwest of the middle VP, and then by the fuels on each side, there's sort of some buildings. So you might expect maybe an MG to head there, but it's just tough. Or maybe this church sort of in the northeastern strap point, just northeast of the VP. But yeah, it's tough to when you get an MG42 right off the bat. I guess you're not really going to know where your opponent's going to go till the strategy is sort of settled down and you've figured out what everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, we're, what, 2 minutes, 30 seconds exactly into the match and no shooting so far, so must just be the nature of the map itself, but I'm curious. Usually in a 1v1 match, you usually have something going on a little bit earlier than this, but there it is right there, left-hand side, first engagement. Yeah,
I mean, partially it's because this map is just huge. Relic trying to save some time by making their 2v2 maps also into 1v1 maps, and I'm not sure, I'm really not sure that's their best option. This thing is just massive. It's nice because it allows a lot of flanking, so it's not like the Pripyat map. And then on the right, I guess we do have some more engagement, so it's not like nobody ever fights, but I'm just not convinced massive maps are where Company Heroes 2 is going to get its best fights.
Well, it strikes me, especially on massive maps like this, Soviets have, I would think, more of an advantage than the German players do, especially with if you go conscript spam, you're okay there. Of course, your clown car has a big advantage, being able to cruise around the map. Very difficult for the Germans to lure a Soviet player into a trap. And actually, it looks like he's trying to keep him pinned on the north side here. Symbiosis is having a little bit of an issue with some buildings here in the north. There's an NG squad sitting in one building on the right, and on the left-hand side, a full conscript squad on the other. So it looks like mobility is not quite there yet, although he has been capping with his MG, so it is good to see the MG42 used like that in a case like this. So we'll see.
Definitely. That's one of the changes I like in Company Heroes 2, being able to cap with those weapon crews and make them useful instead of just setting them up. But, like, you know, you were saying, the Soviets get sort of an advantage because they can drive their clown cars around and stuff and get mobility. That's true, but then once the Germans go out with their Flammenwerfer half-track, which I guess was recently nerfed, then that helps them out because they can reinforce around that, and being able to reinforce out in the field is a huge... Oh wow, did we just lose a squad?
I believe Symbiosis picked off an NG squad that was running, or a Soviet NG squad that was running back home.
Yeah, nice catch there. But yeah, being able to reinforce around the Flammenwerfer half-track is a huge advantage for the Germans on a big map like this, because then you don't have to run all the way back. The Soviets left with just sort of merging their conscript squads into people and then retreating those conscript squads. But we have a sniper out.
Yep, Symbiosis is sneaking a sniper over. Any word on the Soviet side? Are they any sort of fast tech going on? It seems like it's been pretty quiet for them on the rest of the map, except for this this northern part here. It looks like they're gonna have to retreat for being forced out. And actually, good placement of that MG too. I believe is that right along the retreat path?
Well, we'll have to figure out where they to retreat. Sometimes units choose pretty crazy retreat paths. Like these guys running perpendicular. Don't sprint into the enemy, guys. It's not where you want to go. Just head down to the road. But yeah, so in Soviet teching, it's kind of weird, right? It looked like straight conscript spam, although now he's lost his conscript squad. But instead of going from a conscript spam into tier 1, where you often see people go for clown cars, and instead of getting 4 conscripts up to tier 2, he went 3 conscripts up to tier 2, and now he's bought a Maxim machine gun out. And Maxims I used to not be a very big fan of because they're lower fire arc and bad suppression capabilities, but I saw a match where a guy just like spammed Maxims. He had like 3 or 4, and it was not working out too badly for him because the setup time's so fast. So we'll have to see what Baumy does with this Maxim here. Maybe he'll chase down a sniper.
Yeah, he's got the sniper backed up here with the MG, although it looks like he's redeploying it, and he's actually being very aggressive with that MG. Like I said, I have yet to see a player really do that in a 1v1, but I guess the map really facilitates that kind of play. And then it also looks like he has gone tier 2. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss that one, but he does have a scout car out on the field. It just hit inside of his base now, so we'll see if he upgrades that or just uses it to harass Soviet infantry throughout the map.
Yeah, kind of surprised. I guess he's anticipating a clown car. He hasn't seen quite the amount of conscript spam you might normally think, so he figures, my opponent's probably going to get a clown car out, put some flamers in it, and so that's what you want this scout car to fight off, because other than that, it's not really good at fighting infantry. We'll see it trying to, well, I guess there's a lot of people shooting these guys on the retreat, but in general, the damage the scout car does is not tremendous, and if you upgun it with the thing to fight enemy vehicles, then against infantry, it's even worse, because it never, like, hits, but turns out that was maybe not a great move because we don't have any vehicles coming out. We just have a mortar out from Lt.Baumy. So, oh, and in fact, this is not the mortar you get from tier 2. It's the off-map Colin mortar from his Doctrine. So it's the heavy mortar, 120mm. That's just fired by one dude.
And having faced that thing in plenty of team games as a German player, I loathe that thing. The range is absolutely ridiculous. The damage is uncompromising, and we'll see what he's able to do with it. Unfortunately, I guess on a map like this, there's not a lot of concentration of units. So it looks like we do have a mine going down in the middle here. I don't know if he was able, or Symbiosis was able to complete that. It looks like a teller mine just to the left of the center VP there, right along the road.
Yeah. So you can tell he's definitely anticipating vehicles from his opponent now. Not only did he get the scout car, he's sticking down teller mines, but again, Soviets just dumping all their stuff into infantry. They got the mortar. Finally, now they're taking up to tier 3, so we're probably going to see a quick T-70 is what I'm predicting. The T-70 having been buffed recently, now it's able to fight infantry, and if you get Vet 1, it's even able to cap stuff, which is wonderful on a huge map like this. Just drive your T-70 around and cap.
Yeah, I mean, I've been predominantly playing a lot of team games, a lot of 2v2. You and I have tried the 3v3 this afternoon.
Yeah, my first and only that was my first team game, I would like everybody to know, and I did not enjoy it as much as 1v1s, I have to say. It was more relaxed, I'll put it like that.
Yeah, so I'm used to more team tactics in terms of how that plays out, but it does look like that mortar is harassing on the right-hand side there. Got kind of a center point there on the right, and then it looks like map control was pretty much in German hands for quite some time. Looks like they're finally able to get the Soviets out of their base and start capping up on the left-hand side there.
Yes, Soviets trying a weird cutoff over here, this funny axe-shaped thing or something, but that's not going to cut anything off because Symbiosis has this wonderful link up all across the map with his strat points, and now he's just mowing down those conscripts on the retreat.
Hooray for Panzerwerfer.
All right.
I'm trying to see here anything. No, I mean, right now it doesn't really look like, in terms of pure units, Symbiosis isn't really pumping out a whole lot of units. He's got about 360 manpower, so he's doing okay on that. He's not floating too much of it, but he's got commanding map control on this. I mean, what are we at, the 852 mark or so? No big pushes so far by the Soviets. Are they kind of hoarding units in the background?
Yeah, no, he just seems to losing that engineer squad really hurt him. I guess he lost he lost that conscript squad when they retreated perpendicular, and so now his next unit out's a T-70. He's just lacking in terms of units, but the T-70 is really going to give him some firepower as long as he doesn't run over the teller mine. There's nothing the Germans have aside from Panzerfaust that can even hope to hurt the T-70. And so he just has to hold out. This thing just came out just now, so he just has to hold out and see how many squads he can take out with this.
Oh, there's a good MG placement. P-Grens have to retreat. And then looks like on the right-hand side, a little bit of a Soviet push-up. There's a sniper there.
Yeah, he's getting fought away by the engineers, but probably not for long. He's got to take back, oh, he takes a shot, so he should be fine now.
He's got pilots coming in from the flank on their right-hand side there. So.
Yep, so we have a T-70 coming in now. It's important to get as much damage in with your T-70 as soon as it comes out, because it's going to be pretty much obsolete once the tanks come out. And surprised he managed to force the retreat on those 2 grenadiers. You might have thought maybe Symbiosis would just double Faust it to get it stuck there at really low health. What kind of munitions is he at right now?
He's at 40 munitions exactly, so I'm trying to see exactly where his upgrades. He has some LMGs on his. Yeah, that's where they went to. He's got LMGs on his. I keep on calling Bawx Grenadiers from back in the day, but I know that's not what they're called.
Nope, they've been promoted or demoted to tier 0 or something, however you want to call it. The Grenadiers are now slightly easier to tech to. And yeah, I think dumping all that munitions into those LMGs, at least in the short term, is not going to pay off, because his scout car is not going to take out the T-70, his sniper sure as hell is not going to take out the T-70, his MG is not going to take out the T-70, all his AT is just Panzerfaust right now, and he can't even do that because he doesn't have munitions.
Well, it looks like he is countering with a support armor core right now. He's putting that up right now on his base. It's about just under halfway completed. And then also to your point about not Fausting the T-70, where he was down the left-hand side of the map, I'm sure it could have been easily repaired by the Soviet players, so why waste the munitions on him?
Yeah, well, I mean, the way I see it is if you damage the engine, destroy the engine down there, and force it to be repaired back behind enemy lines, then that's that much time bought that it's not going to be harassing your units out on the front lines, out on the right-hand side of the map. The longer you just keep that T-70 away from your vulnerable infantry, the better. So, yeah, it's not like that would be the most effective Faust in terms of keeping it out of the action, like in terms of time.
Conscripts. Oh, he got another one. What is that, 2 conscript squads he's lost? And, of course, too little too late for the Maxim to come in and protect his retreat path there.
Yeah, so Baumy's going to have to do a lot with this T-70 if he wants to come back from all his dead squads. I click on the Mortar right now. It only has 1 kill. It's been shelling for forever and not doing anything.
Uh-oh, T-70 getting maybe a little bit too greedy. Yep, there's the Faust. There's 1. Gonna limp his way back behind Soviet lines there. So a little bit overextension on the T-70's part.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? You want to use it to do as much damage as possible. And here we go, coming in with an up-gunned armored car. This is dangerous stuff. If the T-70 gets a hit or 2 on you, you could be in trouble. But get some side hits, some rear hits, things will look good.
No, he's luring him right into the MG. Yeah, that was ouch.
Oh,
that's that was fast.
Yep, seeing this higher lethality for vehicles all across the board in Company Heroes too. You got to be super careful with them. And Guards Rifle too, up from Lt.Baumy now. So Symbiosis is gonna have to bust out with something heavy in terms of a vehicle, I feel like, because between the T-70 and the Guards Rifles and their AT rifles, any light vehicles or even medium vehicles are really going to get chewed up if the Germans try and field those. Yeah,
we do have a P4 that just hit the field, so that's going to be his armor for now. I think what else he's got really lined up. He's actually, to Symbiosis' credit, he really has a pretty excellent unit preservation at this point. Yeah, I don't really know if he's lost that many squads at this point in time. So he's lost a couple of armored cars, that's for sure, but in terms of pure infantry, he's doing a pretty good job, I would think, on the manpower front when it comes to that. And especially against the Soviets, I think that's something that the German player has an advantage of if you play it right later on in the game, especially with the expensive units like Guards Rifles and veteran conscripts and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I mean, in terms of map control, he's maybe not doing quite as well as you might expect given his unit preservation, but if you look at the VPs, he is up 477 to 308. And his Panzer IV, unfortunately, not doing much for him. He couldn't just drive in and squish those Guards Rifle. I guess he was scared of what was behind him, or scared of getting buttoned or something. But I'm not even seeing button on the Guards Rifle. Did they take that out? I am. Maybe you need Vet 1 for it, but I thought normally when you select a unit, their Vet 1 skill does show up. So I think, I don't remember this from the patch notes, but I think they took button away from the Guards Rifle. This is or maybe you need DP27, don't you? Yeah, you do need DP. I'm an idiot. Why did I not know that? Of course you can't button just with rifles. Well, I guess it sort of makes sense. You could use your AT rifles to shoot the vision slits. Whatever. Okay, so upgrade DP-27s, and then you'll have some sweet AT, because he just bought an AT gun too, a ZIS-3. So this is going to be all the AT I think the Soviets need to take on Symbi's Panzer IV, as long as Symbi isn't too cautious with it. And if he's too cautious with it, he's not going to be able to do anything with it, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like right now that Symbiosis is having a really hard time breaking through this middle front here. Excellent placement by the Soviet player. He's got that really nice, powerful mortar just out of range of anything the Germans can throw at him without risking running into an AT gun or something along those lines if you're the P4. And then also the MG well placed, and of course you have the guard's rifle sitting on that on the side there. So on the T70, of course, taking pot shots, which is actually it's quite good at. I was really surprised when I first started using it in team games how good it could be at just harassing the living daylights out of your opponent.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the ultimate harassment unit, because it'll just drive up really fast to infantry, get some really accurate hits on them now that they've buffed the accuracy, and then this one's got Vet 1, so it can cap some points. So it's just, I call it asshole mode when you turn on the capturing points, because you just drive around behind enemy lines, capture points, kill enemy infantry. It's like an M8 on steroids, basically.
And once again, Panzerguns, I was really kind of hoping the Panzerguns would be a little bit more effective right now in their role on the battlefield, given how good they are in close combat. They had a really nice run for probably the first minute or two there on the field, but they've had a really tough time getting past this T-70 here. It's doing a very good job on the Soviet side. That MG's in a lot of trouble too, down to one man, retreating back into Symbiosis' base.
Yeah, no, between good MG usage and good T-70 usage on the Soviet side, these Panzer Grenadiers have not been able to punch through and do any breakthroughs or anything. And the fact Soviets are encroaching fairly well on the left-hand side of the map and doing a pretty good hold on the right-hand side of the map. At one point, decapped Symbi's fuel, and he was capping it back with a sniper, and I don't know what forced that sniper off, but I guess he's fine now because he's capping it again, but still the fuel decapped, so no income from there.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a decent use of your sniper because of the way that it's lined up now. You don't have to, like the first game that I'm used to, you have to cap the points or your unit's completely worthless. He's been kind of running the sniper up and down the right-hand side. Hasn't really used him very well out in the open and maybe scout form. But of course, because they can't go ninja anymore,
yeah, right.
they could in the old game, it's kind of hard to use them as scouting units. And so
yeah, no.
Have too big of a too big of a squad size for them to really matter that much and be willing to risk them. And there's the P4.
Here we go, a ram. Kaboom.
And I mean, Symbiosis has nothing. He can't hurt it with a mortar. Pyos won't be able to do anything. And T-70 looks like he might be able to mop that up.
We even have a mortar shell coming in, I think, from this heavy mortar. So the question is, he's going to move up his AT gun, the Russian, and probably going to get this P4. It's got a damaged engine, destroyed engine. Engine damage. Well, it's dead, so who cares?
Yeah, he's toast.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Brilliant. Nice use of the T-34 RAM. Usually, so the trick with the T-34 RAM, of course, is that you need some other AT around to finish the tank off, but it can just be an AT gun, right? Like, anything you got that can take them down after you ram is perfect. You just need something to make sure they don't get right back in the game.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having to use a good use of your T-34, take your enemy's armor and nullify it off the battlefield, and then you can't finish it off. That's horrendous.
And great use of this T-70 here, cutting off enemy infantry reinforcements heading to the left. That's going to let him, well, at least try and capture the left with these conscripts. They're running up against these grenadiers behind the hay bale, and unless they throw a Molotov, there's no way they're going to win this fight. And he doesn't even have Molotovs or AT grenades.
Okay. What's going on Tekken-wise? The Soviets just kind of staying put right now with their tech. It looks like they've got enough. They finally crawled their way back into this. I'm a little bit surprised. I know for a very long time Symbiosis basically controlled the map and the majority. Ooh, dead squad.
Yeah, wow. Thank you, T-70, right? So, yeah, just back and forth. Symbiosis being forced off the map a lot, especially by the MG and good T-70 usage. So, although this Stug is probably going to take out the T-70 now, but yeah, Symbiosis hasn't been able to use his Panzergrens to hold on to the map, and Soviets clawed their way back. And so in terms of teching, they made it up to the T-34s, got their first T-34, probably going to buy a second T-34 pretty soon, and between the T-34s and the Guards Rifle and the AT guns, they should be sitting pretty, waiting around right now and try and do some real damage, maybe win the fight with that, without having to move up to Tier 4, I think, at least for a while.
Has anyone picked a Doctrine yet? I don't believe right now Symbiosis has picked a Doctrine at the moment. Have Soviets decided? Or they had to have picked someone. They have Guards Rifles out. Who did they end up choosing?
Yep, they went with the Doctrine that gives you also the Crazy Mortar. So the Crazy Mortar squad, the Guards Rifle, come in a a Soviet Doctrine, and then the one at the end, the thing at the end of that Doctrine is the T-34 85, or I should say the set of 2 T-34 85s. And other than that, you get marked target, marked vehicle, and crew repair passive training. I'm not even sure what that does because I never used this Doctrine, but I guess it lets you repair your vehicles passively out in the field somehow.
All right.
Tricky stuff, but no Doctrine from Symbiosis. So.
And I will issue a quick apology to your viewers. It's been a while since I've done both A, shoutcast, and B, really looked at these units in depth and in terms of the Doctrine. So I will say noobish things throughout this. I'm sure you've already heard them before, but I will say some newbie things as the shoutcast continues. So if I do, I ask for your patience and I apologize. And Tycho, please feel free to put me in my place if I continue to do so.
Yeah, well, I feel like everyone's kind of a noob with respect to the Doctrines right now, just because, like, you can unlock some more when you get really high levels, or if you, like, pre-order the Collector's Edition, you get some even more Doctrines, right? They're just coming out of your ass, so nobody really knows quite what's up with it. I guess the consensus is that basically all the German Doctrines are stupid. Maybe go Jaeger Infantry, get some G43s, and a lot of the Soviet Doctrines are great, right, because you got to get shock troops or guards rifle, and that's pretty sweet. And my favorite's the one that lets you hit the dirt with the conscripts, because that's pretty sweet also. Oh man, we just lost a sniper to something.
Oh, here comes another T-34 creeping up on the street.
No, boom!
About that. Oh, ram.
So now how's he going to finish it off? He's bringing an AT gun up, and I guess it's got a shot. This looks like really weird. It's around the corner of the house. I don't know what's going on. Oh man, it does have a shot.
Oh, there it is.
Yikes. That's really great for Bawmy. So he's clawing his way back. He's losing infantry squads, but Symbiosis is losing the tanks. And I tell you what, I think I'd rather lose infantry. Well, maybe I'd rather lose tanks. I don't know.
I mean, right now he's at 300 manpower, about just under 70 ammo. He's got 92 fuel, so he's doing okay there. And even though the Soviet player has climbed their way back into the game in terms of map control, no real threat to Symbiosis' resources, except for that fuel on the left-hand side. That one's always, on a map like this, always in contest. But on the right-hand side, he has, it's been for a while, but he went ahead and he OP'd a fuel cache on the right. He's got the other fuel just right next to him on that side, and it really hasn't been harassed by the Soviet player at all, even though he's losing kind of the middle on the left-hand side, doing a very good job of maintaining a capping presence on the right-hand side, at least keeping the Soviets guessing. And then here comes another engagement right here in the middle.
Yeah, no, both these players are really good about heading to all parts of the map. Nice grenade going in from those guards rifle, wiping out that lead guy on the MG42, but both players have just been so great about moving left and right and getting everything on the map.
And his guards rifles look a little toast right now. When it comes to suppression, I remember in VCOH you might have been able to get off a grenade or something. Do they still allow that?
Oh, no kidding, do they allow it? Like, it's...
Okay.
T-70 goes down. Right, yeah, so it's a lot easier in Company Heroes too, right? Because you have true sight, so often you'll be able to get fairly close to a machine gun before it sort of opens up and suppresses you. And then you have stuff like URA and smoke grenades from the shock troops. T-34 goes down to in-the-face Pack-40, but yeah, stuff like that just lets you sort of walk up and throw a grenade in on them. So I actually don't like that. I like, you know, the Company Heroes 1 dynamic where you had to flank the MG42 and maybe one guy distracts it by getting suppressed and the other guy goes around the side. Here it's more like just I'm going to crawl up and throw a grenade on you because probably nothing can stop me.
Speaking of grenades, right in the center there, you had a Vet 2 squad cut in half. It took 2 grenades to do it, but it's been taken care of.
Totally worth it. Yeah, so we have a T-70 being built by the Soviets to replace his broken T-70 and T-34, so that's an interesting choice. I guess having wiped out Symbiosis' tanks, he's feeling fairly safe in terms of buying a T-70 and driving it around, but you'd think once we're 23 minutes into the game that he'd be a little more cautious, and we do have some Panzerfaust, or Panzer Shreks on the Panzer Grenadiers in Symbiosis' base, so those will just shred up a T-70.
And we do have that P4 that just hit the field again, so Symbiosis maintaining an armor presence. He hasn't been able to keep him on the field for very long, but he is able to pump out enough of them so that he can go ahead and keep maintaining some sort of armor presence up on the field, not letting the Soviet player completely overwhelm him, especially being right outside of his base.
Yeah, although maintaining his armor presence is going to be tough, I guess, because I think he just lost a Pio squad on the left to an AT gun, and he might even lose his Pio squad on the right trying to retreat away from this T-70. But the T-70 is going to hit the Panzer IV in a second.
And where is he? There we go. And he's getting out of there.
There's a nice little graveyard over here, but it seems kind of pointless because who would ever need green cover there?
Oh wow, the AT guns up to Vet 2, huh?
What do you get at Vet 2?
It only has 2
Increased
kills. I
damage.
mean, it must have been 2. Must have just been 2 armor kills. Like
Or you know what happens? Probably people have been shooting at it all game. That's the way to get Vet.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. You're live. If you're a meat shield, you also get Vet.
Yeah. And I think even just combat gives you Vet in terms of like shooting your gun at people. Like even if you miss, I think that gives you Vet. Or maybe if you hit, that gives you Vet, but you don't have to kill. I like that change, sort of combat just in general instead of getting the killing blow. I think that's what should give you Vet, and it's what does give you Vet. Taking damage, I am less impressed about. Not sure.
Yeah, especially I feel like that kind of gives an advantage over the Soviet side because once again, squad size that they're able to have, they can take a little bit more of a punishment. I feel, especially with that gone to ground the skill that they have, they can kind of just sit there and take a lot of damage and it just sort of be a thorn in your side, and then of course you get better and see out of that. So looks like once again, Symbiosis really can't crack this middle nut here. He gets to about where that pack gun is every single time, and then to the Soviet player's credit, is able to repel all the attacks. Although we'll see if he gets a nice flank off. As you can see, the 2 veteran LMG squads there on the left-hand side, probably waiting to go ahead and make a difference there in the center.
Yeah, amusingly, we have a, oh man, decrewed now, the Mortar from Symbiosis, but it had like 5 kills. Meanwhile, Lt.Baumy's heavy mortar that's been alive for the past like 20 years only has 4 kills. It's just been shelling everything on the map, putting potholes and craters everywhere, but it can't get a kill, can't get a break. It's just useless, basically. It's window dressing. It's making the battle look more epic, but nothing's happening.
How many T-70s does the Soviet player have out on the field? Is it just 1?
Yeah, it's just the 1. He's lost 2, I think, or maybe even 3, but he's a big fan of them, and he's keep them around. That's certainly a pain in the butt for these German infantry. Every time the Vet 2 Grenadiers run into them, they say, no, we have an LMG-42. We don't want to fight a T-70. We want to fight anything else you have.
And I think finally Symbiosis is able to enter the center of the map, although he has given up some map control there on the right-hand side.
Speaking of stuff going on, we're down to 300 VPs for Symbiosis, so Soviets clawing their way back here. They're down to only 255. Let's go ahead and do a time sync. I'm at 26, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30.
Perfect.
Beautiful. And so we have this Panzer IV with the LMG-42, or MG-42, I'm not sure what it really counts as, driving up along the left-hand side of the map, moving up slowly. He says, look, you want to send your T-70 in and fight me? Fuck you. I have a tank.
Is there any real way, once the Soviet T-34 activates the ram ability, can you Panzerfaust it and it stops it in its tracks, or at that point it's just don't worry about it?
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard mixed reports. I've definitely had my T-34 Panzerfausted mid-ram, and that has stopped it. I'm not sure if you need an engine critical to stop it. I've heard people say, like, so Panzerfaust basically always gets an engine critical, but I've heard people say Panzerfaust is not going to stop it. So either they're just wrong, or it's a chance sort of thing. But I know you can. It is possible to stop those things mid-ram if you hit them with something. And even if you actually get out of range, I feel like I've had my T-34 just say, like, well, we were going to ram, but he's sort of driven away a lot since then. So maybe we're just going to stop and look sheepish for a while. But you can stop it. It's not irrevocable. 3 guards rifle, yikes. So it seems like the Soviets are getting a lot of guards rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like, I think at this point I'm looking at the unit lineup right now for Symbiosis. He has 2 Panzergrens, he has 2 veteran regular infantry with LMGs, he's got the MG and a Mortar as well, plus of course his P4. So there's really, I mean, if you're the Soviet player, it'd be really tough to go after them with just conscripts. As you can see on the right-hand side just a couple seconds ago, they had to retreat just from the capping perspective. Really can't do anything. And there's some vehicle buttoning there in the center. I assume Guards Rifle can't really do anything to a P4 other than just harass it.
I mean, you'd be surprised. If you penetrate with your anti-tank rifle, it does fairly good damage. And so what you, especially if you get some rear hits or side hits on the back part of the side, you can actually do some good damage on a Panzer IV. The question is the Panzer IV going to kill you before you get that up? I think he just, no, he didn't lose a squad. It's just one's in.
There's that AT gun sneaking up. I don't think Symbiosis sees it. He's too paying. Oh, there he goes. He sees it now. He's paying a little bit of attention to the Guards Rifle there. So Guards Rifle basically are not Rangers. That's all that matters.
Right. No, not at all. They're more, well, I don't know what a good thing is, but they can button is the big thing. So that button earlier on, I guess it was just to keep the Panzer IV their artillery AT gun showed up. It's a shame he couldn't do it when the AT gun was actually there. We have a Shrek going in on the T-70, but it gets out, forces the retreat. These guards rifle have to be careful. They don't want to die. The heavy mortar is shelling some people. Finally, probably getting some kills, up to 5. Wow. If a heavy mortar shell actually lands on these people, they're going to be in trouble.
Well, I'm sure that the Vet 2 on the LMG squad isn't helping matters when it comes to dealing damage and all that good stuff, too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so it looks like the guards rifle in there. One of them's firing a DP-27 out at these LMG-42, or even 2 of them are. So it's good that they... Oh, I guess they dropped an anti-tank rifle, so maybe that's why they weren't firing. It'd be nice if the guards rifle, like, when they're down to 1 or 2 people, if they would swap to the weapon that's appropriate for what they're shooting at, rather than just say, I'm going to use my anti-tank rifle to shoot at infantry.
Well, I'm sure that'd be pretty sweet. Would that be a coding nightmare? Like, just in terms of being able to
no, when you right-click on a dude, pull out the dude gun. When you right-click on a tank, pull out the tank gun. How hard can that be?
I am not a professional when it comes to that sort of thing. But.
Neither is Relic. Relic doesn't know anything. But yeah, this Panzer IV being used to great effect. It turns out there's 2 Panzer IVs, so I'm not sure which one I'm talking about. But if he's able to circle strafe this AT gun in the middle with his 2 tanks,
that should be.
That'll be bad for the Soviets. It's a Vet 3 AT gun, by the way. Increased weapon damage, plus the Vet 2 increases weapon damage. So this is probably going to just destroy German tanks if it gets some shots off.
Yeah, I mean, to Symbiosis' credit, even though he's been having kind of a tough time, he's been playing around the periphery here, having a really hard time with that center. Pretty decent map control resource-wise, so hasn't had a fuel issue, hasn't had an ammo issue. I believe whenever he's wanted to pop an ability, he's been able to do it. He's got to pay attention to VPs, though. I'm sure he's been neglecting that part of the game for the last few minutes here. He's got to watch out. Oh, I think the AT gun just went down.
Yeah, that was a Vet 3 AT gun too. So interestingly, we have the Russian player floating a ton of fuel and manpower, 700 manpower and 217 fuel. Probably what we're doing is we're waiting for the T-34-85. That's 720 manpower and 260 fuel. So he just wants to call that in. That'll give him 2 tanks that are a bit better than Panzer IVs, I think, or maybe about equal, since Relic seems to have standardized the vehicle stats across, and that will give him some stuff to take on these Panzer IVs straight up rather than just having to build normal T-34-76s out of his Tier 3.
And the P4 right now attacking ground on that AT gun finally got rid of it so the Soviets can't recrew it and give him a nasty surprise if he's not paying attention.
Nice job, Symbiosis. That's what sets apart the good from the best. Do they know how to attack ground and take out enemy resources when they need to? And a nice little repair station set up here too.
And then it looks like on the right-hand side, finally moving out, trying to get that VP at least capped, and once again, securing both his fuels, that VP, and then just harassing the Soviet command point there on the right-hand side.
And he's good to go if a T-70 shows up, because he's got 2 Panzer Shreks on each of those squads, and so that's at least going to force his T-70 away, if not kill it when it tries to stop his capping. So that's what it takes. If the T-70 or any vehicle really is back harassing your people whenever you try and take a point, and you don't have your Panzer IV to send along with it like you did earlier, send some Shreks. The Shreks will do it. But of course, then you don't have anti-infantry, so you have to hope you don't hit infantry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure this has more to do with the playstyle and the doctrine choice that you run with. Speaking of which, I don't believe Symbiosis has chosen a doctrine yet. I don't see any little of the units popped up. So he's floating 9 CPs right now. Hasn't done anything with them. But I was surprised on a map like this, no half tracks. Even if it's from the Soviet side, just to throw an engineer in it, just to be able to kind of cruise around the other side of the map, cap something, and then just kind of come home. And then especially from the German side, no half tracks at all that they can use to kind of harass on either point, especially in a map this big. I was just kind of curious. I was kind of hoping to see that, but maybe not worth it. Maybe they're just a little bit too fragile to kind of engage in that sort of operation.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely strange, right? You're exactly right. This is the perfect map for half tracks. Plus, the metagame is, of course, favoring the half tracks. The Flammenwerfer did get nerfed. Got a nice button and AT gun combo on these Panzer IVs in the middle. The Flammenwerfer did get nerfed in the latest patch, as Relic seems to be nerfing quite a bit of German stuff over and over. But still, probably not a bad vehicle, and certainly with the reinforce, it's nice. Soviets, it's a little more understandable that they skip it. If you don't get the clown car, then maybe you don't go for it at all. But it'd still be nice to reinforce somewhere on the front lines of this map rather than having to retreat all the way back because it takes so long, or even just to drive around capping stuff, right? Because that's really fast.
Yeah, and especially if you can go flying way behind enemy lines, it at least draws an opponent, it draws some resources away from where the battle is. So especially right now, it looks like Symbiosis is setting up shop here in the middle. If he has to run, even if it's just a pilot squad with a flamethrower on it, to the far-flung corners of the map, just to be able to cap something back, it's one less flame pilot squad that your conscripts or your guards rifles would have to deal with.
Yeah, and so this We have still the mortar firing. The Soviet mortar has made it up to Vet 2 with 11 kills, increases the weapon damage when you get Vet 2, and I guess Vet 1 unlocks a precision strike. It fires a single 120mm mortar with pinpoint accuracy. That sounds kind of fun, actually. Just drop a shell for 45 munitions right on somebody. I want to try that out at some point.
Looks like, is the AT gun shelling, or is that a off-map?
Well, certainly not an off-map. He doesn't have any off-map artillery. So yeah, if he saw some shells going in when I wasn't paying any attention, probably.
Ooh,
the AT gun. Here we go. T-34 85's moving in. Here comes the Blitzkrieg from the Soviets. Symbiosis pulling backwards, trying to get as much damage in on these guys as possible, but backing out. Maybe not going to be able to save his Panzer IVs.
He's going to lose one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe this front one here is going to go down. Yep. Oh, abandoned. Oh no.
Right. So that's a bad place to get your tank abandoned. But he can. Well, bad place for the Russians. But they're just going to shoot it.
There you go.
Where they should. Kills the Panzer IV.
Base rush.
Oh, there goes the Panzer IV. Nice AT rifles from the Guards rifles. So this would actually be, I think, a good time to base rush. The thing you have to worry about here is the Shreks, right? Turns out the Shreks are. Where are they?
On the other side of the map.
Where are they?
No, they I believe they died.
How did we miss that? Wow, 2 Shrek squads down to something.
I'm a noob.
No, we're both of us. So now he doesn't even have to worry about the Shreks. That's amazing. He can just base rush in, kill this Panzer IV. He's going to take some good damage on these T-34s because Panzer IV is still good at penetrating, but it's 2 versus 1, so...
yeah, he's got to wipe this thing out.
Question is he going to lose his... Boom! Not going to lose his T-34, so now's the time to base rush. Take out the Tier 4 that Symbiosis is building, and then Symbiosis is screwed, right?
Well, we got one shot off using the T-34 there, and he just couldn't quite kill the pilot squad out. They just finished up the building. I think would have had a couple of shots on it. It would have been okay. But I'm curious. It looks like he's retreating. I don't see anything on the map that would require that. Although a nice flank on behalf of Symbiosis in the center of the map there. He's got his two looks like 2 ground squads kind of running up the center there.
Yeah, so I mean, from our perspective, definitely a mistake pulling out this T-34 85s. There's nothing around to oppose them. He can't know that Symbiosis isn't building a tank or anything like that, but, you know, this might be one of those risk-reward things. You think, look, I'm in their base, I have 2 tanks. There's nothing I can see that opposes me. Maybe I'm just going to try and take out Tier 4, or maybe squish some people.
Well, especially because they just built Tier 4, and they got it down to about half health. So, I mean, even if another tank popped out, maybe a surprise P4, or who knows, maybe a silent Stug or something kind of popping out, he'd at least be able to wipe out the building. And then, do those versions of the T-34, can they ram still, or no? They exchange that for the up gun?
Yep, turns out they still got the ramming and everything. It's basically just a better T-34 in every single way except for cost. So that's some sweet stuff. And so I figured out this vehicle crew self-repair. It just lets you toggle for 30 munitions on your vehicle in the field, and they'll just repair themselves. So that sounds pretty good, and it's per vehicle, so... he's instead driving these T-34s back to base to get repaired, probably safest. If you're not going to use them for the base rush, then just whatever, get them back, heal them up. But now Symbiosis has a chance to try and come back into this game, but it's going to be tough, right? He's missing all his vehicles, they're all dead, lost his Shrek squads. What's his resource situation looking like?
It's looking pretty dire. He's got roughly just under 40 manpower, 216 ammo, so if he's got an off-map, something he could do it if he chose a Doctrine, which he still hasn't. He's got only 20 fuel, although a Panther has just hit the floor, so he was able to get that Panther out there, and looks like a Panzer Grenadier squad as well. So he can push with some of this stuff, and of course, the Mighty Panther. The Panther was also nerfed a little bit in some ways. I believe the armor took a little bit of a hit. I'm not
yeah, no, definitely.
But it's a little quicker. The acceleration or something's a bit better, so you can at least zip around the map with it.
Yeah, you know, people complaining, they're like, oh no, my Panther doesn't stand up to frontal hits from everybody anymore. I mean, it's true, but there's very few tanks in Company Heroes that can take a beating and keep on eating or whatever, because everything's just so weak, and the Panther takes advantage of that because it's just got a huge gun, so I'll take the Panther's huge gun over survivability any day, and being able to chase people down is nice too. So this Panther is going to get him back into the game, definitely against T-34s, especially since they're such low health. One of them being repaired right now, the other just running. So, oh man, Soviets just lost a squad. I think conscripts in the church.
Yeah, he dropped the church.
Oof. See, look at that. Building that thing was like full health when I looked at it last time, and just like 3 Panther shots or something. It's down.
And it looks like we finally, at the 38, what do we have, 38-51 mark, we finally have a Doctrine choice. It looks like Symbiosis really wants the elephant. So
yeah,
we'll
well,
see how that goes.
What I tell you, all the German doctrines are just dumb. Like, you just pick one for what super tank do I want at the end or something. It's that, or do I want G43s on my guys? Because I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of German doctrines that really switch up how things play, add a bunch of new stuff. Certainly nothing like Blitz versus Terror versus Defensive in Company Heroes. I would like that sort of stuff back. Instead, it's like, do you want an elephant, or do you want, I don't know, what other tanks come out?
I'm pretty sure they'll have the tiger ready to go by retail as well.
Yeah, right, the tiger again. Magical disappearing tiger. Yeah, what's a World War II game without a tiger, now that I think about it? So, map control, basically half and half. Soviets doing a bit better, having cut off, well, actually no, he's not really cut off from anything. I think this OP from Symbiosis was a good choice. It's been here the entire game. And what's his fuel income look like? We have 26 for the Soviets.
Yeah, he's at 26 as well.
So that seems to be doing nothing for him?
I mean, I know he's at plus 26, but to his credit...
Oh, sorry, we're plus 23 for the Soviets.
I mean, he's been pumping out vehicles all game. I mean, how many P4s have we seen annihilated? You know, how many armor cars don't really take up that much? They don't really count, but he's lost his fair share of P4s, so I'm sure you keep a couple of those going, or at least alive on the field, and it looks a lot better. It just seems like whenever you only see, oh, he only has a Panther, he only has one P4, he had 2 on the field at one point. You know, he has used up his fair share of armor, so...
Yeah, definitely. And the Russians, in terms of using up armor, it's only been like T-70s and that one T-34, so yeah, you can definitely see where that extra fuel's going for Symbiosis, and it's keeping him in the game, because otherwise he wouldn't probably have this Panther, and without this Panther he would have no chance against these T-34s.
It's true, and finally Symbiosis is able to take back some of the map, especially the VP side. He's had the right-hand side pretty much summed up the entire game, but especially on the left-hand side in the middle, he's finally able to make a little bit of an infantry push, although goodness, you know, thank God they're Vet 3, because they just ran through a lot of fire to get back to their base with that one. I don't think they're going to lose a guy either. It's impressive.
Yeah, that's nice. Vet 3, or at least Vet 2 gives them the resiliency. I'm not sure if Vet 3, in addition, adds anything else. Let's find a Grenadier to click on. Yep, just weapon accuracy for Vet 3, but Vet 2 is one they get really hard to kill. And that's almost universal across units. Almost everybody's Vet 2 gives them increased armor, or durability, as some of the tooltips seem to say. I'm not sure what the difference between durability and armor is. Maybe it means the same thing, but Relic's just trying to confuse us, trying to hide the stats from us. They don't want us to know what's happening.
What's the truth, Relic? What's the truth?
Yeah, what are you hiding? What do you not want us to know?
And it looks like trying to get I get them out of there. P-Grans, even though they've got their Shreks. And we're probably attacking ground on that AT gun. Too much fire to get out of the way.
Yeah, it was working really well, too. They killed like 2 people when those rockets went in, which is better than Shreks normally do. So I guess, yeah, I'll have to try that sometime. Take my Panzer Grenadiers and attack ground into clumps of enemy infantry with Panzer Shreks. Maybe it works like a Quake 3 rocket launcher. That's something I'm going to have to experiment with. Because if that works, that's going to be good, right? It's like free grenades.
Rocket jumping around the map.
Infinite free grenades, rocket jumps, 360 no-scopes, everything you could ever want. Railguns.
They'll introduce the AWP in the next patch, and then
yeah, lightning guns. Yeah, they should just make a Quake 3 real-time strategy game. That should be Relic's next project.
Kickstart that. Someone get on Kickstart.
Yeah.
Get that going.
So here we go. We have Symbiosis moving in with his Panzer IV and his Panther and most, if not all, of his infantry. He's going to face 2 AT guns and 2 T-34-85s. Can't see this going well for Symbiosis. Already his Panzer IV is like destroyed.
Yeah, it looks like one more volley here, and yeah, actually, I would like to. There we go. We got a Faust coming out now, hoping to slow one of them. Does destroys the engine on one of them, so P4 is down. That T-34 ain't gonna make it. We'll see if the Panther gets out of there alive, taking a lot of fire from his AT guns.
Yeah, bad choice, Bawmy, trying to move these T-34s out sort of through this village on the right. Should have tried to back out the way he came. He was worried, I guess, about getting Fausted even more from those Grens, but he just being in a fight with that Panther did not work out. So it's possible he could have at least tried to salvage those 2 tanks had he gone to the left, because obviously the Panther doesn't want to chase you into there, because those AT guns were watching the middle, and that's what put the damage in on them so much.
And despite some very aggressive MG play, was keeping that AT squad down, that NG squad down, and whoever else is capping here, it's blocking the cap. I don't think it's going to make it much longer. Good use of the mortar on the Soviet side to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, so that's a crazy fight in terms of the infantry. We had the Soviet MG set up sort of far forward on the left, the German MG set up really far forward on the right, and both players do some huge damage to the infantry. Looks like Symbiosis is gonna pull this out. These guys have been suppressed forever, but they never get pinned by the Maxim because the Maxim sucks at pinning, and they force the Maxim off. Look at that, that's hilarious.
And the T-34 goes down as well. Was trying to chase that Panther, and we got flanked by those by the Panzer Grenadiers with the Panzer Shreks.
So just like that, Symbiosis is back in this match, wiped out the enemy armor presence. He kept his Panther alive in that, which was impressive considering those AT guns opened up on him and did some massive damage. So although he's lost map control almost entirely, it looks like both players' VPs are ticking way down, so this is getting down to the wire, Bawx.
There we go. You can't ask for much more when it comes to CoH2 Shoutcast.
Yeah, I could ask for more explosions. I guess this Mortar's been giving me explosions. It's Vet 3 now, 24 kills, so finally making itself useful. Increases barrage ability range. Jesus Christ, this does not need a range increase. It's set up in his HQ, and I feel like it's got to start shooting any second now in the middle.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a pathing issue or what the Soviet player is thinking right now, but those Pyros have a chance of taking down an AT gun here if he's not careful with that. On the right-hand side, retreat them back.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I guess they're not chasing, so...
Okay, they stopped.
And the Mortar totally is firing. Yeah, it's just sitting in his base, literally right outside his HQ, and it just got a kill. On the Pioneers.
Is it able to just hammer the center VP from there? I mean, could you just throw that thing on repeat and just constantly just throw Hail Marys at it for the rest of the game if you really wanted to? Or any of the VPs from that range? Is it within range of any of those, or would you have to scoot it out?
I feel like it's like really, really close, right? Because if it's sitting in the base and shelling that strap point the Pioneers were at, that's almost equidistant from the VP. So
yeah.
That's pretty nuts. And this is one of the bigger 1v1 maps, remember, folks. So you get the Soviet heavy mortar, there is going to be very little you can't shell. Play your cards right, and you're just going to be shelling the opponent's like HQ, and then they're going to be rage quitting right there.
So Tycho, you play Soviets predominantly. What do you do right now if you're the Soviet player? What you're looking at in terms of your map control? Are you happy where you are right now? What is the last set of things that you have to do to seal the deal on this game?
So I'm perpetually happy as the Soviets because I just like watching all the little men run around. Unfortunately, in terms of giving tips that are based on my own play, how the game usually goes is I get matched up against someone who can't play, so it doesn't matter what I do, or I get matched against someone who's really good. My last match I played was against, it was on this map actually, against Opfelsoft or something, who you may remember from a shoutcast where I did with him where he was up against like Nystrom, I think, and so like matchmaker keeps giving me people who are way better than me or way worse. So in terms of what do I do, I don't really know. In terms of what would I recommend for Lt.Baumy to try and pull this out, possibly save for another set of T-34s. He's got the fuel, he's at 304 fuel. Now all he's got to do is make it to the manpower. So if these guards rifles stop getting themselves destroyed, he can just save up the manpower, get another couple set of tanks, maybe this time drive around behind the Panther, use his AT guns as he's been using them so well in this match, and with those two T-34s, maybe send one to the left, one to the right, lock down the VPs, go for a VP win. Oh man, what do we have, a Panzerwerfer?
Yep.
Yes.
And it's honing in right now on those AT guns. In the mortar, actually.
So this is what we don't usually see in a lot of 1v1s, the Panzerwerfer, because you got to get up to tier 4 for it. So once you get to tier 4, you're probably going to want to spend your fuel on more impressive things by like tanks or something. But Symbiosis, seeing that this is probably going to come down to the VPs, we're at 91 versus 84, so he's like, look, I want something to bombard the hell out of these points. My opponent's got this magic mortar. I want my own thing.
Most likely, and of course, in a 1v1, you don't need anything more than one Panther. I mean, two Panthers. If you really want to rub it in, go with two Panthers. Yeah. But I mean, you get to a point where it's like, what else are you going to spend your money on? And like you mentioned, if it's come down to a VP game, you're probably going to want to find a way to get your opponent off of the VP in the end game. So you're.
Yeah, there goes. The mortar actually can still fire with one guy because that's the magic of the Soviets. So this Panzerwerfer can be super effective against these AT guns too. I didn't think about that, but that might even be more important than the VPs in terms of how this game plays out. If he can buy some breathing room for his Panther, that's going to totally negate any enemy tanks. And also just accumulating damage on these infantry squads is going to force his opponent to not be able to buy these T-34s. Guards Rifle just expensive to reinforce compared to conscripts, 30 versus... well, less, like 25 or something. So that's the downside of getting
Sniper! Sniper! He got away. He's actually had 16 kills, and he has only one vet. So I know we were talking about that in that team game. He had, what, a 24, 25 kill sniper. And
And he had vet too, and he was killing guards rifle the entire time. So it's like you don't get a lot of vet for killing people in this game, especially not if you're a lone little sniper.
A little bit of a push here on the right-hand side. Center looks like it's kind of firmly in the hands of Symbiosis right now. He doesn't have, except for that MG, not a lot of anti-infantry capabilities in the center. So if you rush a couple of squads into that center VP, you can at least cap it. And I'm pretty sure you can still cap all suppress, so you're okay there. And the Panther, of course, won't be able to pick off that many units. It's not very good at anti-infantry, so it looks like he'll probably be able to get a cap on that center and then just kind of run away. And there's the Panzer. There's the RD we were looking for. And unfortunately, Guards guy gets away with only one guy.
Yeah, no kidding. So, Soviet player has some balls. He's got his mortar with one man left in the middle, but he's been keeping it here, using it to continually bombard. It's what took out that MG42, and so this is giving him a chance to cap this center VP, and so even though Symbiosis apparently fought a hard-fought battle on the right and took that VP from the Soviets are going to hold the left one, where they're setting up some mines as we speak, and they're going to hold the middle one. We have 66 VPs for Symbi, 81 for our Soviet player, and it's really getting down to the wire now.
Can you edit in some like down to the wire music? Is that, or do you have to get people's permission to do that?
So I think I have to get permission from basically everyone from the president down to my next door neighbor to put any music in my YouTube videos. I tried putting in some royalty-free music, and YouTube's like, nope, we're gonna ban like ads from. Holy shit, that's a Panzerwerfer thing.
Ooh, another nice arty strike on the German player there. Takes out at least one AT gun, and that's a really lucky MG. And then the sniper actually finishes off the other Soviet AT gun. So looks like nice retreat from the center.
Symbi thinks he's ready to go now with his Panther in the center and he can just move in, but little does he know the Soviet player just bought two T-34-85s from that nice call-in. He sends them over to the right. There's nothing there, so whatever. But if he uses these effectively, it may be that the Panther supremacy that he so recently acquired is going to almost immediately evaporate.
Yeah, although there is a P4 that just popped out as well. So if he's able to kind of play his cards right, does the correct thing, keeps his Panther at a long range, front armor facing, uses the P4 to harass, he might be okay, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the tank battle that's almost inevitably going to happen in the middle. The Soviets really down in terms of infantry, lost their conscript squad, I think on that VP on the right when they were trying to hold it. Boom! Some grenadiers inch their way into the mine that he laid on the left-hand side. There's an anti-personnel mine.
Nice.
Dead. So those engineers feeling pretty good about themselves. Here we go to the tank battle. Looking bad for the Soviets at the beginning, moving in with side hits on the T-34. There is no side armor in the game. There's only rear armor and front armor, but if you hit the rear part of the side, then that counts as a rear hit.
Looks like he's remanning that AT gun, see if he can't get anything done. Although I believe the health on that thing's got to be really, really low. I know they were attack grounding that thing a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Symbi got one of them, and the other one maybe going to go down pretty soon. Oh, it's getting Panzerwerfered. Nothing happened to kill the tree.
Poor tree. And he actually doesn't have it faced correctly. I'm not quite sure what they're thinking on that. Can the Soviet player not see the German tank from there? Oh, there we go, finally turning it. So he decided to move it just like 5 inches to the left, although it's too late now.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly, he did not have sight. So when the tanks were firing, he probably had sight in the fog of war, but he actually doesn't have much here that can see very far. The tanks, their line of sight is good, but not stupendous. The AT gun, the same sort of thing. And so now he actually can't see anything in the middle. Symbiosis is clawing his way back in, 58 versus 53 VPs. I don't know who's going to win. The Russian player still has the left and the right, laying another set of mines, so Symbi's going to need to start pushing out of the middle. You can't just hold the middle. You need to start branching out.
It looks like that's what he's doing right now. It looks like a P4 and a POW squad with a minesweeper, by the way, are heading off to that left VP. So unless the Soviets have a nasty surprise waiting for him in the way of an AT mine or something, it looks like he should be able to take the left, and then also moving a grenadier squad over to the right-hand side to cap. And that's a Vet 3, so it's going to take a lot to get him off of that thing.
Yeah, so we have nasty surprises by the dozen. We have 3 mines, 4 mines even laid by the Soviets, but he brought minesweepers, which you almost never see unless you need them to get the wire cutters, because Relic's like, let's put that back in the game. But so now he's managed to find these mines, and so they're not going to do anything. They're anti-personnel anyways, so the Panzer IV could probably just drive over them and explode them. I don't know how that works.
And the sniper finally hits Vet 2, and he also has 24 kills. And trying to keep...
Congratulations!
Panzerwerfer is going off. What's it going for? He lost his Panzerwerfer. Where's that? Oh, there it is. Okay, good.
Killed the machine gun completely. 5 people, I think, died in that barrage. So this Panzerwerfer up to 25 kills and 1 level of veterancy for that. That's amazing. Bad.
It looks like somebody probably running his T-34 over there to the left-hand side to harass that pilot squad.
He's running both his T-34-85s over there, so he's serious about keeping a hold of that one. He doesn't have the right anymore, so looks like Symbiosis might be able to pull this off. He's got the stranglehold going, moving in on both sides. Soviet player really low on units. He's got 2 T-34s, engineer squad, and 3 guards rifle. Everything else is dead. He's lost his mortar, he's lost his AT guns, he's lost his machine guns. Symbiosis may be pulling this back from the almost fatal base rush of those 2 T-34s. Looks like he might be able to take out the Soviet player.
Yeah, I think if the game ends up winning, if Symbiosis ends up winning, that's the turning point. I mean, that's the point in the game where you kind of throw caution to the wind, and you just have to, when you have your boot on the throat of your opponent, you just got to step down on it and then call it a day. But if they were to do that, the shoutcast I don't think would be nearly as entertaining. So thank you for not doing that, Symbiosis.
Yeah, well, you know, if he had base rush Symbiosis and taken him out, that would have been funny too, right? Like, you never see that happen. Although, I guess there's a new strategy going around where the Russians load up into clown cars and they drive into your base and they set demolition charges on everything and then blow it up. So I feel like Kodachrome tried that in Company Heroes 1, although he would like knock down the fence in the side with like a flamer and then walk in and use demo charges, and that was fucked up because nobody used demo charges in Company Heroes 1 because you had to research them. Of course, in Company Heroes 2 you get them for free, so that's slightly less crazy, but I guess that's the strategy that du jour, and maybe you get Zerg rushed in a game and that happens, you'll know what's up.
And it looks like kind of a last-second cap attempt here on the right-hand side on behalf of the Soviet player. They'll get the cap. I don't know why they had to use 2 units and why they were just standing there, but I assume they're busy on the left-hand side trying to fight off that Pio squad there.
Yeah, I mean, Soviet player still totally has it in him to win this. If he can somehow hold on to the right, or even cap this middle thing.
Uh-oh, nade on the left.
Not going to happen.
Oh! Oh, that hurt.
Yeah, I just caught the end of it. Those guards are really going down. These T-34-85s need to help them out. The guards should be running away or into the building or something. They're just going to get destroyed. Look at the T-34s slowly swiveling around. They're like, oh, should we help?
And finally the retreat. Actually, not a bad idea. I kept them in there for as long as you possibly could. And then, of course, the retreat on Symbiosis' side. So it looks like unless the Soviet player has a ninja squad ready to rock and roll, I believe Symbiosis has this.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, so if he drives these T-34-85s all the way to the right, because Symbi's got nothing on the left, if he drives them all the way to the right, pushes Symbi off, he's moving his Panther even, so if he can get them to the right in time, he's got 20 VPs to make it there to cap the point. So let's go bring some infantry, of course. If he can't make that happen, that's going to be GG. It's getting really close, though, and if he does get the right, actually, now that Symbi's repositioned everything to the middle, that could be bad for Symbi.
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious. I mean, I understand at a certain level why you would go ahead and use the center as your anchor point, but it's only 1 VP versus 2, and that's what you really need to hold on to. I would be curious to see them maybe redeploy maybe half his units over to the right-hand side, and then maybe just kind of spread out a little bit, unless, I don't know, looks like he's kind of playing it rather conservatively and just every once in a while running over to one side or another. But if you really want to put the game away, I would think you would just spread out, and I don't think the Soviets have any other way to really harm you.
Yeah, no kidding. We had some T-34s power slide around the corner and show up, taking out this bunker. They're going to decap this VP. They're down to 7 VPs, down to 6 VPs, but they're getting the decap.
Will he get it?
Oh, man.
Got it.
So, okay, now Symbi's just got to get some infantry to the left, because it's, well, or destroy him on the right. Here's a boom! We got a ram.
Interesting. Yeah, there's no way they're going to be able to get an infantry unit into the center there. It's too well guarded, but... and it looks like we do have, we have a Panzer Grenadier squad with Shreks and a sniper running over to the right-hand side, seeing if they can't finish this group off here, and maybe take that unit back. Then on the left-hand side, it looks like you also have a cap. So what's the count on Symbiosis' VP? My monitor has decided to block off the VPs on the north side.
He's only got 28, so
okay.
Looks like he's going to pull it out. If he decaps this thing... before, yep, looks like the decap's going, so, whoa, we have another 2 T-34-85s coming in right at the last second, but, the Soviet player's not going to be able to get the left, so, yeah, looks like Symbiosis is going to be able to pull this one out of his hat. That was a stupendous game, back and forth, nobody knew who was going to win the entire time. Vet 3 on, like, everything, great game, great AT usage, I think, AT gun usage by the Soviet player. That was pretty good. The entire match, and we saw that rushing a T-70 pretty fast does not have to be GG for the Germans, even if they don't have really any AT on the field. They didn't have any Shreks or anything, didn't even Faust. But there's the game over. Symbiosis wins with 25 VPs left.
Well played.
Yeah, no kidding. That was fun. So, that was good. I think maybe going guards rifle so much didn't help him as much. If he had had conscripts with hit the dirt or something, he would have stood up perhaps better against these German infantry. Guards rifle, unless you get them to DP-27s, they're not going to be good at fighting infantry at all. And although I guess they are survivable enough to last into the end of the game.
No, I thought overall it was really well played. Of course, shoutcasting a game like this on a larger map, I like seeing all of the different units. You know, I'm used to all you see in a shoutcast is it's a lot of conscripts, it's a lot of T-34s, and that's about it. Or you know what I mean. And in this match, you had just about every unit that you could possibly throw out.